content. If you be looking me up on some of my personal stuff, you see my workout content. Well, you got to put something in the body to make all that work. And we're about to meet one of the best chefs you done, I don't know what to say, best baker, chef, I don't know how to call it. I'm not too savvy with it because it's stuff like that, but it's all good. We out here at a personal friend of mine's house, family member, somebody that I really care about a lot, and we're about to turn up for you. So, Cracking the Code, episode 6. We're dropping it now. Let's go. As always. And I'm sitting here with a beautiful guest today, like I said, outside before I came in. And what is your name?
Quillisha Barfield.
Quillisha Barfield. And what do you do, Miss Quillisha?
I am a baker. I own my own bakery food truck called Q'sCakes here in Columbus, Ohio.
Okay. And how long have you been doing it?
This is year 4.
Year 4?
Yeah.
Roller coaster fun?
It's actually really nice because I do it as a hobby, even though it's a business.
Okay.
I work full time. I have a full time career, so I get to do it at leisure when I have time to do it.
Okay. So, is there any way to contact you and stuff like that?
We have a website. We're actually in the process of building a brand new website, which should launch in the next 30 days. Our current website is www.Q'sCakes.company.site. And then on Instagram, it's Q'sCakes614, and Facebook is Q'sCakes.
Oh, okay. So you got a broadband.
Yeah, those are the big things.
What made you get started? What was the inspiration to some of this?
There was actually no inspiration.
Okay.
So I've always loved baking. I guess that's part of inspiration. But I never intended to open a food truck. I actually was surprised by my husband in February of 2020 with a food truck, a food trailer for Valentine's Day.
Wow.
I thought he was nuts
because
again, I had no intention of starting a food truck. But it turned into what it is today, so I guess he knew what he was talking about.
So your husband kind of forced you into the game.
He did.
So that's what you said.
Basically, I mean, he literally, I mean, he surprised me. I was like, "You're crazy. I have a whole career," and he was like, "Do it when you want to do it." And I said, "Okay, well, we'll give it a try. If it works, then great. If not, then we'll pivot and do something else." But it's worked out really well.
See, that's the importance of having a good teamwork,
Yeah.
make the dream work.
Exactly.
That's the same always.
He knows me better than I know myself sometimes. So
yeah, that's dope. That's dope. And
so sorry.
that's good. Who would you consider some of your? So do you have any chefs or anything like that you're inspired by?
Actually, my inspiration comes from my late Aunt Beverly. She passed away of cancer a few years ago. She's always been the baker of the family, known for her banana pudding, and she made wedding cakes, birthday cakes, and it was always so amazing. And so I guess my inspiration for sure comes from her. I'm inspired by the people in the city that are doing similar things. Shauna Banks, she was another influential baker in my career. She is Love Meets Cake in Columbus, Ohio.
Okay.
And so I used to do some, unofficial training with her way back in the day. She did my bridal shower cake. She did my wedding cake. And so I do attribute some of what I do to her. She inspired me.
Okay, that's dope. That's dope. So you got a couple of inspirations.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say like Emerald or like what's it? Bobby Flay.
I like Bobby. That's my dad's guy though. Bobby's more of a cook, and I love cooking.
Yeah.
I love cooking, but I think being a baker, it's like experimenting. Like you experiment with flavors and different things yourself to try to come up with your own types of recipes, and it's like cooking. You do it with love, and you hope that it comes out its best. Right. So I watch Bobby Flay and all of the other chefs, and I get inspired when I'm cooking for my family. Gotcha. But from a baking standpoint, most of this comes from my Aunt Bev. Yeah. So I call my banana pudding is called Aunt Bev's banana pudding. Oh. And that's our #1 seller. So
see?
Makes sense, right?
See? The importance of family, boy. I'm trying to tell you. That's why I say sometimes I say to myself, I'm like, when you lose people that you really love,
Mm-hmm.
you ain't gonna taste that no more.
Man.
You know what I mean? Like the greens, my grandma used to cook.
My grandma's dressing.
And the dressing.
I mean, her hamburgers were amazing. And I'm telling you right now, Chick-fil-A. When I go to Chick-fil-A, I always say they stole my grandmother's chicken recipe because she would make chicken and it tastes the exact same.
Wow.
I mean, the only difference is hers was on the bone. I mean, but it's with love, and that's a Christian-based company, and so it makes sense to me.
So they're Mississippi, or where are they from?
My grandma was from Mississippi. My grandfather's Mississippi. My grandma, my dear, she's still living, Dorothy Wright. She is from Tennessee, and so was my grandfather, Roy Wright.
Okay,
so we got a little Southern here and there.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that. I threw that out there. I was just gonna say Elyria, but you.
Well, they moved to Elyria,
but
they moved to Elyria, and once they got together and everything.
Right.
But they were both my mother's parents were both from Mississippi. I mean, we still have family in Mississippi, so bakers can't bake and bakers don't often cook. Right. I actually do both just as great. So I even experiment when I do cooking, but like baking is just where my heart is.
So what would be some of your specialties? Like what would your top?
Okay. So top is banana pudding.
Right.
I always say I'm not cocky, I'm confident. My banana pudding is the best you'll ever taste.
Gotcha.
And I know some people may feel differently, but I doubt it. I've won over a lot of people. I expanded to making banana pudding ice cream because it tastes good and it tastes like banana pudding ice cream, not banana flavored ice cream. Another seller is our strawberry cheesecake cake jar. Our chocolate chip cookies, they go like hot cakes. I can't make enough batter when I'm on a truck because we make them hot and fresh.
Gotcha.
And so we've even thought about since now I make ice cream, starting to offer ice cream because people are always like, oh, I want to put some ice cream on top of the hot cookie. You know what I mean? I had someone that wanted banana pudding and chocolate chip cookies. And for some reason wanted to pair them together. I'm like, to each their own. If that works, it works.
They said put it all in one.
Yeah, dump it all together.
Just smash it up.
Yeah, give me all the diabetes at once.
You gotta go some days. You might as well go with a smile.
I'm like, oh man, do it in moderation.
That's
please.
Dope. So Q'sCakes is doing this thing. You have spots you hit throughout the year.
So we often we will do special events. We will do some festivals. There's a neighborhood in Gahanna. They're called Bryn Mawr, I believe.
Okay.
Where on Thursdays they've decided as a community that they don't want to cook, and so what they do is they have food trucks and dessert trucks come out every Thursday from 5 to 8, and they buy, patronize those trucks and support those trucks. And so I've been doing that for a couple years now. And wherever they want me, I have a realtor here. She's near Delaware off 23. They do a food truck festival or somewhat of a festival at Olentangy Meadows Elementary, so I go out there. So really, wherever the demand is, I'm not probably the ideal food truck that goes out on a Saturday in parks and hopes for clientele and things like that. I usually like to schedule because if I'm going to be away from my family, it has to make sense.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because I know you're very family orientated. So y'all got a good family. I know y'all personally. Y'all my family too. So as well,
Yes.
Go
We love together.
Who am I?
I got tortured by your brother.
You're right. Oh, who didn't?
Oh my God.
Don't feel left out.
I got PTSD.
Oh, all of us do.
Joey.
Joe Dog.
Just so you know.
Joe Dog.
I have not forgotten. The wrestling moves were crazy.
Oh man.
I just wanted wrestling to just end because he got a new move and then we all had to experience it.
He had to try it out.
It was crazy.
Oh my God.
I'm like, I'm tapping out. You don't care?
He made you tougher. He made you tougher.
Oh my gosh. You had to be tough around.
You had to be tough around Joey. So what's the upside to the business, so to say?
The upside for me would be, so I work in healthcare, so I am all about customer service and people are ill and they need some sunshine, you know.
For sure.
I'm the yellow
Sure.
sunshine. And, you know, I want to, working in healthcare, make sure that they're getting the best experience, that they're being treated like I would want my family to be treated. And so that pours into my business. You know, we pride ourselves on good customer service. I want people to come to the truck and to not only just get baked goods, but have an experience and say, you know, they treated me really well, you know, and their dessert was delicious. And so that's really important to me. I get a lot of satisfaction out of putting smiles on people's faces. It's not just about the ability to bake good stuff, but it's like people love cake. Like you're making them smile, and if you could just be nice to them while you're doing that, like it goes a long way. Because I think kindness sometimes is like out the window, and people don't naturally do it. So I try to bring the smile, and you know, it also gives me ability to spend time with my family because it's family owned and operated. So my dad works with me. My sister sometimes gets on there. My nieces, my mom. You know, my mom's my day one, so she's been on there from the beginning. But also, you know, if I ever decide to step away from it, I have the ability for my daughters or my sons to have a business that they can run and own themselves. Or my nieces. Like I'm always like, you guys want to learn the recipes, because I keep my recipes on lockdown. I'm not gonna lie. But I would teach them, you know, because then they wouldn't have to work for someone. They could go and bake and run the business, and I'm, you know, in my career doing what I do, and I come and we work together.
Give them a choice instead of having to.
Exactly.
You know, like,
I'm like, you here, like it's the platform is here.
Right.
And I think sometimes, you know, I want them to find their own path. You know, if they don't have the passion for baking, I want to show them that they can own a business, and whatever the business, whatever type of business it is, they can run their own business, be their own boss. And so I do it as an example to them. I treat them like I would any staff. They don't get special privileges. I remember one time they stayed the night when we had an event, and I told them what time we were leaving. I told them what time the event started. I got up, I got ready. I, you know, loaded the truck, prepping everything. They wake up, they're like, why didn't you wake me up? I said, when you have another job, does your boss wake you up? I said, I'm already giving you a ride. What boss do you know picks you up for work? Like,
give you a double take, right?
So I want to give them like a piece of the real world too. Like just because I'm your aunt doesn't mean you get to take advantage of me.
For sure.
And so we had that conversation in that moment, and they, you know, they were remorseful. They apologized, and so that now they show up and they're ready. They're ready to roll. What station am I on today? What am I doing? And I pay them. I don't pay them pennies. I don't say, you know, because you're my niece, you don't get what your worth is.
Yeah, you don't have a set pay for them.
They make.
If we have a good day, they have a good day.
Well, I pay them the same wage no matter what my day is like, because they work the hours, and that's the agreed upon wage.
There you go.
So even if I take a loss that day, they're going to get paid an hourly amount, and they're going to walk away with what they're supposed to get regardless of what we make. And so I think that's why, you know, one of my nieces has a job now, and I'm like, Q'sCakes pays you more. And she's willing to call off. I'm like, don't call off, because that's bad for business. But just so you know,
just remember.
Just remember, we pay you more. And it's important though to teach them that, like you get paid what you're worth. You don't let anybody undercut you or not pay you what you're worth, regardless of how their business does. They're employing you. You have an agreement. They should honor that agreement. So they got it made in the shade. And at the end of the day, if we have any like cookies left over or anything like that, like take what you want. You know what I mean? Like if we aren't going out the next day and I'm not going to sell it, I'm not going to throw it in the trash. I'll take it to a homeless shelter. I've done that. I'll give it to my nieces. I'll send it to my nieces and nephews that are too young to work the truck. You know, so they win. You know, they're coming out winning every time they're working with me.
You love the structure. You love the growth.
Exactly.
You know, you teaching them free
I'm teaching
will.
them all of it because I work in leadership in healthcare, and so this is what I do on a regular basis. So it translates into my business, like punctuality and professionalism and good customer service. Like if I could survey our customers, I would survey our customers, just because I think like that feedback is invaluable. So so I'm trying to teach them, like, this is a real world setting. This is a real business. We have to pay taxes.
So learn through me. Learn through me. I'm here.
Exactly.
Look, auntie here, mommy here.
Yep.
I'm gonna hold y'all down, however you want to put it. I'm here. So that's dope.
Yeah.
So what would you consider some of the downsides to it? Like,
I would say maybe sometimes it's booking in advance, not knowing what might come up for your family. You know what I mean? Like if they book me 3 months out and then, you know, my family wants to go to Kings Island for the day, then I have to pivot. You know what I mean? That means I have to honor this contract or agreement that I have with that customer, and then either miss something that we just booked with my family or plan ahead. And so I've learned really well to plan ahead. So sometimes if I have like an event where it's more like a catering style and I need to bake things for it, then I may arrange with them like, okay, we're going to do a delivery the day before, you know. So I said that, I'll say that's kind of the hardest part of it. And sometimes is the same is booking ahead, because sometimes you got a lot of things going on. You know, life and you don't know what is going to be happening. And then let's say I don't feel good, or like I'm just not up to it that day. I have to honor that, you know, contract or agreement and push past it. And so sometimes I'm just like, darn, this would have been a perfect day to just stay on the couch. Which is not terrible. Like,
no, I know what you're saying.
You know, like,
because you work, like you said, you run a business, you got kids. And like you said, this ain't something that you started because you love to do it.
I mean,
your husband came you know.
And I love it now. Like, don't get me wrong, but like my two boys, they're 6 and 8. They just started sports, and so it's so important to my husband and I that we are present. I'm at practice, and I'm in school full time also. So when I go to practice, I'm doing my homework. You know what I mean? There's so many moving parts in our lives. My husband owns his own trucking business, and so it's just, you know, finding a balance and making sure that you're present for them. So even if I have an event coming up, I don't want to be, you know, not present for them. I remember even in my current career working, and you know, sometimes you got to burn the midnight oil, right? So like I'm working later hours, and my son said to me one day, he was like, oh man, it seemed like we just see you when it's dark outside. And I said, oh, no. So that might mean working earlier hours, or like I said, prepping in advance for an event or something, so that's not his perception of mommy, right? It's just the balance of it all. I love it. I thrive in stress, which is probably not the best thing in the world. But I think that if you can, then you can overcome anything. So if that means like I need to prep for an event and I need to say, hey, you want to, you know, come on the truck with mommy and prep or bake or whatever the case may be, then they feel involved and they feel like they're getting that quality time.
And then some days they're not in the mood.
Exactly. They're like, no, see you when you get back. And I'm like, okay, mommy will bring you some cookies back. You know what I mean? So that, I mean, it's not terrible, but it is like probably the most challenging part of running a business outside of being a career. I'm just their mom. Like, I'm not Q'sCakes to my kids. I'm not the associate director of operations. I'm none of that with my kids. I'm mom. So
and it's like I tell people that, you know, I'm Tommy Davinci on it, you know, but y'all know me, JR. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm 5 different names. So, you know, them hats that I gotta put on for everybody, so I understand exactly where you're coming from. So what would you see yourself 5 years from now with Q'sCakes? Is there a plan? Is there an idea?
So I haven't really developed like our 5-year plan, which I know a lot of businesses have that in play. You know, for me, because I do it as something that's fun and something that's more of a hobby, or like for me, therapy, because it's something I love. I have like tossed around the idea of like a storefront, like a bakery, where I've already like had the preliminary conversation with my dad and said, if I open a bakery, would you run it? You know, I would hire people, I would teach them recipes, we would do all the things, but would you run it? And he was like, oh, absolutely, because my dad, he is second to none. He is one of the greatest business businessman. I know I always say he can sell cotton to a Q-tip.
Yeah.
Like when we're on the truck and he's working with me, he has the line down the street. And so like naturally, the first thing I'm thinking of is if I were to expand and to a storefront, that I would want to make sure that I had the right people in place. And that's going to be my dad, my mom, my nieces if they want to.
Right.
But I have a wealth of experience in recruitment, so if I had to hire externally, I would do that.
You'll figure it out, right?
Yeah, like I'm not worried about it. So I mean, no official 5-year plan, but I do toss around that idea sometimes.
So you like snowballing?
Yeah,
basically.
we'll see. We'll see what happens.
If it grows, and if it does,
I don't have to commit to it, and that's what I like. Is that having a career and being able to pay our bills and things like that. Like I don't have to commit to anything. It's mine. I do with it as I want to.
For sure, that's a winner.
Yeah.
Well, it smells so good in here from when I first come in here. We're about to go in the kitchen, and Q is going to break down a recipe for us. What did you put together?
We're gonna do homemade chocolate chip cookies. The reason why I picked that, because I thought about doing like a pound cake and things, is like it's a staple, like it's a favorite. My son is obsessed with my chocolate chip cookies. He really does gas me up all the time. Like he'll eat chocolate chip cookies from like some other stores that I won't name and place bakeries that I won't name, and he'd be like, it's good, but it's not better than yours. And so like, even though he's my son, he's supposed to say that. I know people love chocolate chip cookies. I see how they react to chocolate chip cookies on the truck, and so I was like, let's do something like that people can like take the recipe and do it at home and tweak it and make it their own. I mean, I've done chocolate chip cookies so many different times in so many different ways. And what I do love about chocolate chip cookies is like, it's not chocolate chip cookies until you put the chocolate chips in, right? So once you have your cookie dough, you can put whatever you want in there, right? So I did pull out a couple of different items, different type of chocolate chip, marshmallows, different things that we could use if we wanted to.
Okay. So, all right. Well, we're about to go in the kitchen and go get this started.
All right, let's bake. So I'm gonna be making chocolate chip cookies. So first you're gonna wash your hands, which I've already done off camera. Then you're gonna start by mixing your dry ingredients, which is gonna be 1.5 cups of flour, and they do have to be sifted. After you get your flour, you're gonna do a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And then you're going to do 1 full teaspoon of baking soda, whatever brand you prefer.
What would be the best? Arm & Hammer?
I mean, I have Arm & Hammer. And then you're going to sift them together. You do not have to use a sifter this big, but I love this one because if you want to do multiple batches, you can do at least, I think, 3 or 4 with this. And I'll set that to the side. Okay, you're gonna leave that, set that to the side. You're gonna mix your butters and sugar. So we're gonna do a 1/2 cup of butter. And we're going to do a 1/2 cup of brown sugar. And you're going to do 6 tablespoons of granulated sugar. If you want your cookies to be a little bit more moist and delicious, you can do 3 additional tablespoons of brown sugar. Some people have to use a tablespoon itself. I've been making it so long that I can pretty much gauge it. And you're going to blend your sugars and your butter together until smooth. Doesn't take a long time, but
so that's what these mixers are good for, stuff like this, like sometimes.
So you don't have to manually mix. You can use a hand mixer. I love KitchenAid. Call me KitchenAid. You can send me stuff I will use on camera. So then once that is mixed in smoothly, you're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla. And you're going to add 1 large egg.
Put the shells in it?
No. If you want crunchy cookies, and you don't want to overmix the egg. You just want to get it in there until it's creamy.
Okay.
And then after you mix these things together, and you can use a spatula to make sure it gets well incorporated. After you mix these things together, you're going to gradually add your sifted dry ingredients. I bet some of you thought that making chocolate chip cookies was a lot harder than this, but it's not. They're delicious, so they seem like they should just take a bunch of different steps, but they don't actually take a lot of steps. So you're gonna mix that down. Sometimes you gotta crank it up a little bit.
Now that's why them things are so. Why are they so heavy?
These are heavy. I think it's just the way that they're made. I mean, so that yes. They're
just to stay
they need
grounded.
to be sturdy for sure.
Okay.
Because if you drop them and they weren't sturdy, it would be pure devastation.
For sure.
I have dropped one before, and I don't care if the base is not perfect, but if it stops mixing, I will cry. I'm just gonna be honest about it, because what it does for me and the hands-free that I'm able to do and be able to do other things is priceless.
Got you.
So you can mix your dry ingredients gradually in with the KitchenAid, but you really have to watch it so that you don't overmix.
Okay.
I most of the time will use a wooden spoon or spatula, but today I'm going to keep my hands clean. I'm just going to let the KitchenAid do its job.
Okay.
So you just mix it in and allow it to get incorporated, not completely like a wet dough like you're making bread. But then as it's getting incorporated, you want to add, and I know they say gradually, so gradually to me means just throw it all in there.
Yeah. Yeah. So once you get it, that first chunk.
Yeah, once you pour in a little bit and you see it's doing what it's supposed to do, go ahead and pour the rest of it in there and let it mix down. Again, don't overmix.
Okay. Now what's that mean, to overmix?
So if you're overmixing, the way that your dough comes out is going to, your cookies aren't going to bake correctly.
Okay.
So you don't want, and it depends on how you like your cookies, but for me, when I make them for my family, some of them want fluffy chocolate chip cookies, which means there's going to be more air in your mix, and then some of them, like my husband, likes the thin, not crispy chocolate chip cookies.
He likes thin, soft.
He's picky. So he'll tell me. So he's the reason. Again, he's the reason why I have the company. But he also is the reason why some of my recipes are as good as they are. Because when I first started making cake jars, they were ugly. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, the concept was great, but they were not presentable. And so he started to give me feedback, and at first it was hard to hear because I'm all in when I'm doing something. Right. But I remember him saying to me one day, he said, try it before you sell it to someone else. If you don't like it, they're not going to like it. Right. And so now I make them try it because I'm just on a weight loss journey. But, he always says, try it before you sell it. And if I've ever made something that just wasn't right, he will not lie to me. He will tell me it's not right. Back to the drawing board. Or even though he's not a baker, he can tell me exactly what it needs more of. He might be like, oh, sprinkle a little bit more sugar, or not as much salt, or add more chocolate chips. Not enough chocolate chips. And so this is what your dough is going to look like when you're done. And I'll take it off so you can see it. Okay. And then this is where you add your chocolate chips. So you can, it says do two and a fourth cup is what I usually do. But again, if you're measuring, use a measuring cup and do 2 1/4 cup. I eye it, so however it looks, I can usually tell if I have enough chocolate chips. If you're making chocolate chip cookies and you're not adding a lot of chocolate chip cookies, then you're making sugar cookies. Okay. So, so make sure that when you're mixing it in, you can actually see the cookies.
Got you.
So the good thing about this dough, again, is if until you add the chocolate chips, it's just a cookie. It's like a sugar cookie, but not like a standard sugar cookie. So you can add whatever you want into it. I've incorporated this dough into strawberry cheesecake cookies, Oreo cookies, and then so these are really good chocolate chips, cookies and cream mix-ins. It has pieces of Oreos, and it has white chocolate chips and milk semi-sweet chocolate chips. That's good if you want to do an Oreo cookie, or you can crumble your own Oreos up, which is what I often do.
Okay.
Some people like s'more cookies. I call them Smookies. My nieces laugh at me. But you can drop marshmallows into your mix, and then I do crushed graham crackers. So it's like a s'more. So you got your chocolate, your marshmallows, and then you got your graham cracker.
That's dope.
For this one, even though we have the semi-sweet chocolate chips, I also have semi-sweet baking chocolate because more chocolate the better, really. So, so you don't want them to be overly chocolate. If you add too many chocolate chips, then when the chocolate bakes down, it changes your cookie, and your cookie doesn't taste like an authentic chocolate chip.
Okay.
So you do want a lot of chocolate, but you have to be mindful of how much you're using so that you don't change what you're actually trying to accomplish, which is a delicious chocolate chip cookie. So if you bake the chocolate into the cookie and you want that look of like, I want chocolate coming out the top of the cookie, just break them down or crush them down to little pieces, and then sprinkle them over the top of your cookie dough when you bake your cookie. So once you have your dough and it looks like this, or even more chocolatey if you want, you take your ice cream scoop and you're gonna scoop out a full scoop of dough. And then over here on our baking sheet, we're gonna drop the dough onto there to bake.
Wow. Okay.
And
see, I would have been doing it with my hands.
So sometimes I do it with my hands. So if I want them really flat, sometimes I'll take them. I'll show you. I'll take them in my hand. And so what you really want to do before you bake your cookie, I'm just cheating right now, is put it in the fridge for like 30 minutes to let your dough set.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, so I might sometimes do this when I'm making it for my husband, just to make sure it comes out like perfectly flat for him.
Gotcha.
But if I'm doing it for my son, who's obsessed with chocolate chip cookies, shout out to Zeke, he does not care what
Scoop
the shape
it.
looks like. He like put it on there,
Long as it crumbles.
throw it in the oven, and in 10 minutes call me.
Got
so,
you.
Yeah, so that's how you're gonna do it. And then you'll do on a sheet this size, you can do a dozen at a time.
Okay.
And so then once you're done, you put them in the oven for 8 to 10 minutes. And then when you take them out, you put them on a wire rack. And then you let them cool for 5 minutes, and then they're ready to roll. Unless you want them warm, then you just take them out, get a spatula, put them in a bowl, throw some vanilla bean ice cream on the top and chocolate sauce, and enjoy.
There you go.
So that is how you make homemade chocolate chip cookies. You can also add pecans in there. My mom loves chocolate chip pecan cookies, so I may use some of this batter, drop some pecans in there, and make my mom some cookies.
Well, I think we're to my favorite part of the whole show is where are the cookies that are. Where's the movie magic? Give me some movie magic.
Okay, so there is movie magic.
Okay, let's do it. Hold on. Let's do it.
Oh, it's been 10 whole minutes.
Oh,
there's chocolate chip
there
cookies.
we go.
My son is ready to eat these,
God.
and I am ready for him to eat them so that I don't eat them.
Yeah.
But this has the baking chocolate broken up inside and chocolate chips. So they're good and ready to go and already cooled.
That seems so good. Can I try one?
Yeah, absolutely.
I need to try one on camera.
Absolutely.
Just to make these people jealous because they about to miss out. Yep. Yep. This like something from the store. You go get some milk.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And these for my husband would not be flat enough. So if I make his again, I may do that method. And
Anytime you mess up, call me.
Okay.
Anytime your husband get upset, just call me.
I got you.
I'll come over here and clean it all up.
Okay.
You know, I ain't worried about too much or nothing about.
Well, I'll make sure I bag some of these up for you.
Please do. It's all right. I ain't gonna agree on no. I don't know if that's still I'm saying anymore, but it's like, I don't know. I appreciate you.
Yes, I appreciate you too.
Yeah, but let me quit acting the mess. Don't forget, hit up Miss Q on Facebook. Is that
Facebook,
cool?
Q'sCakes, and then www.Q'sCakes.company.site. It will be Q'sCakes614 soon, so stay tuned. And then on Instagram, Q'sCakes614.
And these pretty t-shirts, this is what you might see her in, right?
Oh yeah, I
This is
wear
what
those
you wear.
anytime I'm on the truck. And if you're interested in a t-shirt, let me know. Need some milk, huh?
Nope. I just took them down too fast. Trying to talk and all that at once. But this is Q'sCakes. We are here and we are out. She got mother duties to do.
Mother duties. We got football today, so I'm really excited. They've been winning, so we're looking for another win today.
So, thank you. Thank you for the cookies.
Yes.
Thank you for the interview.
Thank you.
Keep inspiring. Keep doing your thing. Keep snowballing. There's no way that's a snowball, but it's true. But this Tommy Davinci, y'all. This episode 6 with Miss Qualisha Barfield.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? AKA right. You know, that's what I know.
10 years ago.
10 years ago, that girl is a whole nother woman. And she has cakes, she has cookies.
Cake jars,
She's a
banana
mama.
pudding,
So,
school.
so, like I said, peace out. All right.
Yep.
Thank you.